Good afternoon. My name is Richard Dunn, and for the last several months, I have been taking CIT360 at Brigham Young University, Idaho. And with today being the last day of the fall semester for 2017, I wanted to take a few minutes and just talk about the things that I've learned in that course. I've been going over journal assignments and just trying to get a feel of what this course has really meant to me, and I want to share a few of those things with you today. The very first thing I want to talk about is Java, because I feel like this is the simplest thing that I've learned this year. Java is a programming language, as you may know, and it is a way of expressing ideas through code so that programs can be created and tasks can be accomplished. In this particular case, what I'd like to show you right now is a parallel processing program that does a multi-threaded task. It just does very basic tests. It randomly shows up different tasks at certain times, but it does them concurrently so that multiple tasks are being handled all at the same time, but in a random order. Now, this to me was very impressive. This was not something I would have ever thought that I could learn how to do. And yet, I would tell you that it is probably the least valuable thing that I learned during this semester. Because object-oriented programming, yes, to me was about learning about the method of object-oriented programming and learning how to do these things in Java, learning how to use JSON, learning how to use Java collections and application controller pattern and model view controller. These are all very useful things, but ultimately, in the long run of my career after I leave Brigham Young University, I believe that is actually going to be the least valuable thing that I will have learned from this class. Now, I would like to show you the most valuable things that I've learned from this class and explain to you why I find value in them. The first thing I would like to show you is this. You've probably seen this before. This is a grid of all of the topics that we needed to cover during this class. And I've got to tell you, when I first started this class, I was terrified because basically what we received was this list of topics and a note that says, during weeks 1 through 10, you should reach a familiarity level of basic in the following 15 topics. There was no schedule. There was simply, here's a list, get these in. They have to all be done by week 10. This was essentially a self-paced course for the first 10 weeks. I have done self-paced courses. I am not good at self-paced courses. This required a degree of self-reliance, a degree of organization, and a degree of focus that traditionally I have not been very good at. But I am pleased to say I have accomplished this. Not always in the best or in the smoothest or in the timeliest possible manners, but I learned how to focus. I learned how to organize. I created a list of these topics. I went down them. I started checking them off, and I started getting them turned in. The business world is not necessarily organized. Life is not necessarily organized. In a chaotic, random world in which we live, the only organization that we have is what we create ourselves. And I think perhaps one of the most important things I've learned is how to create that organization within myself. And it took me a while. It wasn't until probably week 7 or 8 that I really figured out exactly how to get everything in order and how to get all of these tasks done. But I did it. I also want to note that there was a textbook for this class. I did not realize it until a ways into the process. But this class also taught me to research. I would not have known what an application controller pattern was. But I went out and I started researching, and I hit Google and I hit GitHub and I looked at code that other people had written, and I looked at tutorials, I looked at Wikipedia, and I learned these things. My wife is a systems integrator for SunQuest Information Systems, and partway through this class, I was talking to her and I was venting a little bit about how I didn't quite know what to do, and this was such an unusual course. And she looked at me and she said, "But that's the real world. That is what you have to know how to do." She said, "There are no textbooks for my job. I get new technology, I bring it into the company, and I figure out how to make it work." And sometimes that involves an afternoon of me going on Google and figuring out how things work. And that's the second thing that I've learned from this class is how to do research, how to take nothing and create something by going out and just learning what I can from wherever I can. And the last thing that I want to share with you that I learned from this class is right over here. This is Google Hangouts, and to be specific, this is the Google Hangout for my CIT360 team. In particular, what we have on screen right now is Katie Simon and Davey getting together and chatting. Oh, and I'm in there too. I'm the one on the right. Chatting about JUnit and chatting about Hibernate. The other important thing that I've learned from this class is the importance of a good team. I would not have made it through this class if it were not for these people. Interpersonal connections are so important. No man is an island, no man works alone. And I am grateful for these people that I've had to work with, because in the long run, they are the ones who helped pull me through. They were the ones who encouraged me, and I encouraged them. I helped to teach them things. I helped to keep them going, and they helped to keep me going. And I owe a large part of any success that I have in this class to their assistance. So today is the last day of the semester in CIT360. I did learn Java. I could now write a program in Java. I got things, I provided elements that proved that I had at least a basic understanding of 15 different code topics. But the most important thing I learned was how to work in an environment such as this, how to be a responsible human adult in a situation where he felt horribly overwhelmed, and how to rely on the Lord. I would not have gotten through this without the Lord's help, and I would not have gotten through this without the help of my friends and my family. And I am grateful for that. And I am grateful for this horrible, terrifying task that I gave myself by signing up for this class, because I have learned so much from it. And I thank you for your time and your attention, and for all that I've learned from you. And again, this is Richard Dunn. Thank you for listening.